Hey there, your friendly neighbor Anna's here, and you'll have a background sound today because we have really heavy rain, and today I'm filming Loup, one of my main characters for some years now. See, the deal with Loup is that she doesn't represent me per se, but I did take some of my character traits as her base. So originally, Lou was a part of species called the lionfish. And no, it's not the actual lionfish, because that exists. But they were a species that separated from humans pre-Great Flood, not pre-Great Flood, pre-Ice Age, and went underwater. And for evolutionary benefit, their DNA got a combination of human, cat, and fish. Well, human, lion, and fish, to be fair. So yeah, they're kind of the ultimate underwater species, and Lou is an heir to one of the kingdoms of said species. And her original story was meant to be a comic of her learning what is life above the water. And one of the spin-offs was actually why lionfish never came up from under the water, and it has to do with Lou's older sister. They are four siblings. They were four siblings. They are left as three, and as it goes, the typical would be three heirs, one to rule the kingdom or whatnot, a part of the kingdom, one to lead the army of said kingdom, and one to inherit the high priestess position, which all three were governed by the ruling family and were supposed to produce, and the ruler is supposed to produce three heirs, but for whatever reason, the latest lionfishes were four. And as a spin-off story I came up with was that the fourth, the eldest sister, was of age to go above ground, and that's like a tradition, like an age thing. How do you, like in very traditional places, they usually have a certain path of growing up. Well, for the lionfish tribes, yeah, I'll call them tribes and not kingdoms because they're supposed to be pretty small communities. So for the said tribe, the path of becoming of age was to go above water and to see the sun. That's sort of it. And as the story goes, Lou, being the smallest, the youngest, followed her sister. And let's say as a consequence of certain actions by Lou and her sister got injured and passed on. And one of the major traits of Lou's character is the said blame. Like, she blames herself for her sister's fall. However, she's incredibly curious about the world above water. So that being said, obviously, she tends to run away and she tends to go above water and see the world. Hence, in her new version, which I'm redrawing now, she has a human one, like a human version, because her original version is a mermaid with a lion's tail and cat ears. So her current version has like two options. The underwater one, which is obviously the warrior who accepted her position as the heir to her mother's throne, and the above water option, which is a human, which will join obviously my original character and Lexi and the other original characters in some comics which have to do with human situations, because I originally created Lou to engage in human situations and show how interesting even the simplest actions can be from a point of view of an observer, from a point of view of someone who doesn't know something. Because I have moved countries. I am not damn it, I forgot it. I forgot the English word. I'm not local. I'm not born in Cyprus. So from the time I came here and from the time I started engaging with the local community, I felt very curious and very amazed, I would say, by certain situations. And I tend to try to see the good in things. So through Lou's experiences, I wanted to show the good sides of experiences which people might tend to see as not so positive. Okay? However, she has her own story, like a more serious side of the story of her becoming the heir and all the problems she encountered and how she met Thierry, who you'll see as well and whose story I will also tell. How she found him, how she gave him a shape, and all said things. But in the majority, Lou represents me. However, her character is her own, and I spent quite a bit of time creating and growing her character organically, and that's what I said in the video about Lexi, that I prefer taking actual people as a reference, because then the character grows more organically, because you have a live like an option to observe actual live events. With the Lou, it's a little bit different, because I have to analyze certain things I do and certain ways I react from a different perspective, and let's say imagine how she would do it. It takes a little bit more time with Lou, and it takes definitely more effort with her. However, I really enjoy the stories I created behind the lionfish characters, because I also worked on her brother and her sister, and on the kingdom, and on the story of them dividing it, and how Lou fights for the ability to engage with above water creatures, and how Lou stands for her opinion that we shouldn't be afraid. Because that being said, lionfish live way more than humans. So according to my story, I believe Lou is around 700 years old, around there, 700 to 900. However, it's different for them. It's not as simple as you would treat a really old vampire, because they don't have the opportunity to gather as much wisdom traveling. They're a very closed community, hence she's a little bit childish. However, you'll probably see it from some of the comics I will throw in the videos. Thing is, in some things she's a little bit childish because I will throw her into human situations. However, when she actually encounters situations similar to what she experienced throughout her aging in her kingdom, you will see that her reactions are completely different. She's much more cold-minded, much more planned, and you can feel that she's not a teenager when she's making certain ruling decisions, because there she has those years and decades and hundreds of years of experience, because ever since she was like 200, she was raised to be a ruler, because that's around the time her sister passed, and it was decided that Loup will take the throne. Because originally she was the smallest, she was the last child of her mother. She was not supposed to be born, and as a result, she was given complete freedom. Hence, she followed her sister, and everything happened. But when her sister passed, she had to take that place, because it was already, both her older brother and her older sister were already in training for their positions, and they didn't want to change places. So Loup, being the youngest and most capable for new training, had to step up. So she was trained throughout the years, etc., etc. And I do believe she's a very versatile and very complex and very interesting character to work on. And I really hope you guys like her as well. She'll appear more often on more serious topics, like probably with Loup, it won't be Anna Talks. With Loup, I'll create maybe a series of podcasts on more serious topics. But in general, I'll try to put snippets of me working on comics with her, and maybe put some of the comics on my Insta, because it's been a long time. I really want to engage with her and Thierry and the story behind the lionfish family, and hopefully now I will have the time to do it. So see you in the Thierry video. Have a great one. Bye bye.